Welcome back to the Chattable podcast, where enrich vocabulary and speak English with pride. So, we have a very specific mission for you today.
Yeah, we really do. We're going to master two incredibly useful, really colorful English phrases today.
Right, because learning vocabulary, it isn't just about, memorizing a list of definitions. You have to really understand the vibe and the history of the words.
Absolutely. And today's deep dive is, well, it's going to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
We're actually connecting 1911 folk songs to modern billionaires.
And age-reversing mice. Don't forget the mice.
Right, the mice. It just proves that English vocabulary is, it's anything but boring.
Okay, so let's jump right in and unpack this. The first phrase we're looking at today is pie in the sky.
It's such a great phrase. Basically, pie in the sky describes an idea or maybe a promise that sounds absolutely wonderful.
It's a funny visual, though, right? I mean, why pie? And why is it up in the sky?
Well, that goes back to the origin story, which is fascinating. It actually comes from an old American folk song written back in 1911.
Oh, wow. So well over 100 years ago.
Yeah, it was written by a labor activist named Joe Hill. And back in that era, poor workers were living these terribly hard, brutal lives.
And I'm guessing the people in power were just telling them to deal with it.
Pretty much. The workers were basically told to just ignore their incredibly hard lives because they would be rewarded in heaven. They were told they would get pie in the sky when you die.
Oh, wow. So the song was a sarcastic comeback.
Exactly.
It's sad.
It was this really dark joke. Joe Hill was essentially saying, that promise doesn't feed my family today.
That makes so much sense. And, it's interesting because we can still relate to that feeling today. It actually reminds me of modern hustle culture.
Oh, 100%. It really does.
Like those flashy internet ads that promise you'll get rich in 3 days with zero effort. Human beings have just always been skeptical of promises that are too good to be true.
We really have. And you actually see this exact concept applied in high-level science today, too.
Like with the billionaires we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So right now, tech billionaires are pouring massive amounts of money into life extension research. They are luring scientists in to try and help them live forever.
But serious scientists know that's not really how human biology works, right?
Right. The serious researchers in this field are very careful not to make pie-in-the-sky promises.
Because saying they can suddenly add 20 or 30 years to a human lifespan would just ruin their credibility.
Exactly. They are grounded in reality. They would be absolutely thrilled if they could just extend a healthy human life by a couple of years.
So they avoid those pie-in-the-sky claims entirely. But wait, we should probably talk about when not to use this phrase.
Good point. You do have to be careful not to misuse it.
Right. So say we have a guy, let's call him Liam. He wants to open a small coffee shop, but he needs to save up money for a few years first.
Okay. Right.
I shouldn't call that a pie-in-the-sky dream, right?
Definitely not. I mean, it's going to be difficult, sure.
Yeah.
But it is completely possible with hard work.
Right. It only becomes pie-in-the-sky if Liam expects the coffee shop to just magically build itself overnight.
Exactly. You don't use it for goals that are just hard. You only use it for impossible fantasies.
That makes perfect sense. And when scientists or even people like Liam realize their goals are a bit too pie in the sky, they usually have to adjust their expectations.
They do, which actually leads us perfectly into our second phrase for today.
Yes. The phrase is toned down. So what does toned down actually mean in everyday English?
So to tone something down means to make it less intense. You're making it softer or more moderate.
The vibe feels very peaceful, like you're just making small adjustments to keep things safe and manageable.
Yeah, that's a really good way to describe it. And the origin of this one is deeply rooted in the arts.
Oh, really?
Like painting. Exactly. Yeah. Think about an artist. If they put a color on a canvas and it's just way too bright, they mix in a darker color to literally tone it down.
Oh, I love that. It's so physical.
It really is. And it works for music, too, like lowering the volume or pitch of a sound.
You can just picture it. You picture an artist mixing paint on a palette or a DJ slowly turning down a volume dial. It makes this abstract idea of moderation so incredibly visual for an English learner.
Totally. And the crazy thing is, scientists are using this exact concept in high-stakes genetics today.
Okay, this must be where the age-reversing mice come in.
Yes. So a while back, researchers successfully managed to turn back the clock on cells inside living mice.
Wait, really? They actually reversed the aging process?
They did. They reversed the cells all the way back to an embryo state. But it turned out to be a huge problem.
Why? I thought that was the ultimate goal.
Well, going all the way back to an embryo state dangerously increased the risk of cancer. The change was just too extreme for the body to handle.
Ah, I see. So the mechanism was working, but the intensity of it was dangerous.
Exactly. So other scientists looked at the data and suggested that they needed to tone down this age-reversing effect.
So they didn't want to stop the experiment completely.
No, not at all. They just decided to reverse the cells to a teenager state instead of an embryo. That toned down the effect and dramatically reduced the cancer risk.
That is just amazing. But again, let's establish some clear boundaries for you listening at home. When should someone not use the phrase tone down?
Well, toning down implies moderation. It does not mean stopping entirely. That's a very common mistake.
Let's use another example to make that clear. Say a woman named Chloe wants her friend Mateo to completely quit smoking.
Right. In that situation, she should definitely not tell Mateo to tone down his smoking.
Because that would just mean smoking less, right? Like having 3 cigarettes instead of a whole pack.
Exactly. If she wants him to stop the action entirely, tone down is completely the wrong vocabulary choice. You use it for moderation, not for stopping.
It's all about finding that middle ground. Well, this has been incredibly useful. For you listening, you now have 2 very vivid, culturally rich phrases to use in your everyday English conversations.
And you know exactly how to avoid misusing them, which is just as important.
Absolutely. You can use pie in the sky for those impossible dreams and tone down when a situation just needs to be a little less intense.
You know, there's one final provocative thought I want to leave you all with today.
Oh, what's that?
Well, think about the incredible journey of these words. A phrase born in a 1911 labor song is now being used to describe modern billionaire-funded science.
And painting terminology is being used to describe genetic mouse research.
Right. So it really makes you wonder, what new phrases are being born right now, like on the internet or in technology, that English learners are going to be studying 100 years from today?
That is wild to think about. They'll be totally unaware of where those phrases even began.
Exactly. There'll just be everyday vocabulary to them.
Well, that is a perfect thought to wrap up on. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. And remember to keep speaking English with pride. We will catch you on the next Dip Dive.